Wrestling. Power Pro Wrestling.
The Power Hour.
It's the Monday, February 20th edition of the Power Hour, Power Pro Wrestling. Hey, it's Randy Hales. We're ready for you today. A little bit later on, we will show the April 17th Power Pro Wrestling is show number 53. Right away, we have Greg in the house and PJ in the house. My buddy Brooks here, as is Jeff Frog Wheeler. You know, since we've been together on the Monday night show and since last Tuesday, obviously, where we had the unfortunate responsibility to announce the passing of legendary Memphis wrestling promoter Jerry Jarrett, who passed away last Tuesday morning at age 80 years old. Very sad that the innovator of Memphis wrestling, Jerry Jarrett, passed away. Now, we're going to open the show today with a 20-minute radio interview I did last Wednesday on the front row with Bud Rowe, talking to Dave Brown, the great host of Championship Wrestling, co-host with Lance Russell, then the lead host with Corey Macklin for Power Pro Wrestling. Dave and I talked memories of certainly Jerry Jarrett and his time in Memphis and a little TV5 and other stuff, and that's interesting as well. We'll come back to that right after Adam Dunn, and Adam is not going to pop on your screen right now. There's computer issues. If he wants to tell you what there are, the fact that his computer is not handy right now, he wants to tell you why he can, but he's going to verbally tell you what you will see. I miss seeing you, Adam. It just breaks my heart. Come on here with your profile picture and your voice, please.
All right. Good evening. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, Pat.
I knew you would like that. All right. We've got Al watching us as well, and also someone's watching us from Australia. How about that?
Hey, that's great. I believe he was watching the last Tuesday show from the land down under. The place where superstar Bill Dundee, through Bobby Shane, ended up calling Jerry Jarrett in 1975. Bobby Shane said, I have the perfect team for Tennessee. Bill Dundee and George Barnes came to America, and the rest is history. Bill still here living in Memphis, Tennessee. Adam, what do we got going on show number 53 today? I guess it's sort of a starting over show.
Yeah, sort of. It's show number 1 of season 2 of Power Pro Wrestling from April 17th, 1999. We're going to see Big Mick Tierney going against a bigger Baldo. We'll see Baldo put Vic Grimes through a table. A triple threat match. Erin O'Grady, Steve Bradley, and Kurt Angle. We'll see a Randy Hales, Brandon Baxter interview. Kid Wicked and Derek King go against Lawler and Dundee. That'll be scheduled to happen. All of that coming up on today's show, Randy. It's going to be a huge, huge power hour to start off the new season.
Really looking forward to season 2 of Power Pro Wrestling. Last Wednesday was the 15th day of February, the day of the passing, the day before, after, I'll get it right yet, the day after the passing of Jerry Jarrett. Last minute, as I do that radio show every Wednesday morning at 9 Central, I got the last minute idea to see if Dave would go on the air and do a little talk with me. PJ is probably, and Adam, probably the only ones that listened to it. No, Al, PJ didn't listen to it. Al listened to it, as a matter of fact, but I thought everybody, because we talked about a lot of different things. This is a 19-minute interview, so it will make us late with this power hour today, but I think that everybody will enjoy it very much. Thanks to Adam for putting it together, for recording it, and for getting it uploaded and downloaded and all kind of loaded. I feel right now, I wish I was loaded, but right now we're going to listen to the front row with Bud Trappell, Randy Myers, with Randy Hales, and also special guest, the great Dave Brown. So here's that interview. Thanks to Adam.
Front Row Media, in cooperation with East Arkansas Broadcasters, presents On the Front Row with Budrow. Phone lines are open now at 930-3776. Toll free at 866-930-3776. First-time callers get free food and a really hard time. Now, here's your host of On the Front Row with Budrow, Bud Trappell.
Third and final hour this day on the Front Row. Excuse me, powered by Evolve Bank and Trust, everything you never expected from a bank. Presented by Alexander's Machine Shop, your job shop machine shop. We're the Ticket Radio Network, 970 AM, 95.3, 96.9 FM, 104.1 FM in Clarendon, Arkansas, worldwide on the web at 953theticket.com. Over there is Randy Myers. Over here, Bud Trappell and Randy Hales, getting ready to get to you-know-what. But first, I want to tell you tomorrow we'll be at First Community Bank. We'll have Sean Cockrell and Holly Cockrell on at 7 o'clock, the upcoming coaches for the all-star teams of football and dance. At 8 o'clock, we'll be joined by Matt Mills from Rector, the boys coach out there. And then at 9 o'clock, C.J. Pepper and Kevin Turbable will join us on the front row. But now it's time for
Power Pro Wrestling.
I do that better than you do.
I agree.
Power Pro Wrestling.
He's here. It's Randy Hales from Power Pro Wrestling. Sad day today. Sad day.
You know
today.
what I was just thinking, Bud? This has become a routine 4 weeks in a row. First of all, we broke the news on the passing of Jay Briscoe, and then following that, we broke the news of the passing of Lanny Poffo. Then last week, we had to talk about the medical situation that Jerry Lawler was in. And today, we are obviously talking about the inventor of the classic Memphis wrestling style, one of the smartest people in the history of Memphis wrestling. Jerry Winston Jarrett passed away yesterday morning at a medical facility. It was a sad situation. I wasn't aware of the fact, but he had developed throat cancer is what I
didn't know that.
Understand.
Terrible.
And he was at the hospital near his home in Franklin, Tennessee to have chemotherapy. In that chemotherapy, he had a heart attack and he passed away. Jerry Jarrett passed away at 80 years old. I'm very happy to not only share memories with the front row faithful and you, Bud and Randy, but also in just a few minutes, I had said, so I'm kind of giving an audio cue to Randy anytime you want to call. I told him 9:10, but we can do the call anytime we get him on the air, and Bud approves it because it is Bud's show that he makes a habit of making sure I know every week, every time he vetoes one of my ideas.
How many ideas about veto to yours? To be honest.
None.
Thank you.
There's one, though, you might have vetoed, but I didn't confirm it anyway, but we won't get into that. But you had just told me that, and I completely 100% understand.
Oh, my goodness. All right. He's talking to him, so you want to do a slow introduction or a fast introduction? There you go.
You know, I'm real thrilled to death, and I'm tickled to death, Bud, that you and Randy allowed me into this studio that's right next to Brandon Baxter's studio for the last 140 weeks. I'm thrilled to death to be able to have on the phone, even though we're going to talk about a sad situation, a member of the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame 2 different times. He is a member of the Tennessee Broadcasting Hall of Fame. He's a broadcasting legend. He's my good friend. Want to welcome for the first time to the front row with Budrow, my buddy, Dave Brown. What's going on, Dave?
Hey there, Randy. Well, not a lot going on right now, as a matter of fact. Sad news yesterday. But I did get some good news yesterday. A quick update before we talk about Jerry Jarrett. Jerry Lawler, mutual friend, talked to Jerry yesterday, and he continues to improve nicely. So I know all the fans who want to know about that.
Oh, it's a blessing. It's a blessing, Bud. Anything to start off with?
Listen, I think of Jerry Lawler, and I think back to what happened during that wrestling show a couple of years back, and how pretty quickly he recovered from that one. And then this one comes up, and he's already back home. He, as Dave said, he's talking better. He's doing better. He's an incredible guy. He really, really is.
He really is. He's at his home in Florida. He's going to be down there. He can't travel for a few weeks, but he's looking forward to getting back to his home in Memphis.
Well, Dave, it's good to talk to you today. How have you been doing?
Well, doing fine. Staying busy most of the time and enjoying life retired.
Yeah, I can't imagine you being retired, though, and just sitting around the house. That doesn't happen, does it?
Well, not sitting around the house so much. I do a little bit of that, but I've got several things going on. But a night like maybe coming up tonight, I am so glad I'm retired because I don't have to spend the night at the television station.
You getting some weather tonight, Davey?
There's probably going to be some weather tonight. They've put us under an enhanced risk for severe weather, which out of 5 is a 3, and it's possible that stuff could happen.
You know, one of the things that I want to let everybody know, and I've said this before and said on my social media, I love Ryan Vaughn at Channel 8, and I love the people that do weather here at this station. But just a couple of weeks ago, I had a Uber trip to Memphis, and I was a little worried about the weather. I don't call Ryan Vaughn. Don't have his phone number. My personal weather guy is Dave Brown, and he basically didn't answer the phone, but then he called me back immediately, but I was in the grocery store, so he left a voicemail. And Dave, that voicemail, I played it to my buddy Adam Dunn and other people, just gave me chills. You must have been looking at that computer, man. It was like the good old days at Action News 5. I appreciated that advice, and you told me it was safe to make that trip, and I did, and I made it home safe. I appreciate it.
Very good. Glad to help out there, Randy, and we're never wrong.
Oh, no, absolutely wrong. And certainly one of the false narratives that somebody broadcast, and Dave will agree with me that it was a false narrative. Said one time Dave missed a forecast, which he didn't miss anyway, ever in his entire career. But a guy came in to the studio and punched Dave in the face, and that did not happen. So you can verify that for me, Dave.
That did not happen the way that story. I've heard at least, I would say at least 30 versions of that story, maybe more, and none of them are true. It's only partly true. Guy came into the television station and go from there, but had nothing to do with me, had nothing to do with the weather, had nothing to do with the wrestling.
All right, Dave, you go all the way back to the very beginning, for me anyway, moving back to Memphis in 1972, and wrestling was on Channel 13, and you were involved in it, and Jerry Jarrett was involved in it, and you go right back to the beginning of Jarrett and the Memphis wrestling promotion.
Yeah, I started doing commentary with Lance Russell on Channel 13 in January of 1967. And, of course, a few years later is when Jerry Jarrett and Tojo came in as a tag team, and they became a big part of the promotion.
Yeah, it's just an interesting situation when you go back. I watched wrestling on Channel 13, and we will talk about Jerry Jarrett. But one of the things I remember, Dave, I loved you because certainly you were on the wrestling show, and I watched that. But I discovered you on Channel 13, especially in the summer when I wasn't at school. You hosted the Dialing for Dollars movie on Channel 13. What years did you do that, Dave?
I did Dialing for Dollars beginning. I went full-time from radio into television in October of 1968. So I did Dialing for Dollars from then up until about 1973, 4, something like that, when Joe Dyer took over. They promoted me to chief meteorologist. So I couldn't get there at 7:30 in the morning and stay there till 11 o'clock at night. So somebody else took over dialing for dollars.
When did the weather gig start at Channel 13? Then, of course, you moved to Channel 5 and there with Mason and also with Jack Eaton, the whole crew. But what year was that, Dave, that you started doing weather?
I started doing weather on the noon news in May of 1972. And then I think it was probably maybe January, February, March of 73. They wanted me to become the chief meteorologist and do the big shows early evening and late evening.
But you never got away from the wrestling. You never got away from the wrestling.
No, never did. I enjoyed it. It was good. And you could never do that these days. The bosses would never permit it. But wrestling was the first TV I ever did. And I could just divorce myself from weather on Saturdays and do the wrestling show. And the audience went right along with it, which tells me that a lot of times consultants for television news don't know their audience near as well as they claim to. Because it worked for me, and if it worked for me, I don't say it'll work for everybody, but it'll work for other people too.
Dave, tell the story to our listeners here on the Front Row with Budrow as you're on the right fiber hotline. Tell the people how Lance Russell came to you and approached you about doing television, and he was a program director at Channel 13.
He was the program director in addition to hosting the wrestling show every Saturday. He was the number 2 man in the building right behind the general manager. And I was on the radio one Saturday afternoon doing my radio show, and he came in and sat down and he said, Davey, he said, the guy who's helping me on the show, his name was Dale Mullins, he said, Dale is leaving. He's going back to his hometown and work at the radio station there. I need somebody to help me out on the show on Saturday. He said, I don't know how you feel about wrestling. I don't know if you love it, hate it, or don't care one way or the other. But I will tell you this, if you ever think you might want to do television, you should take this job because it will let you find out if you like television, and it will also let you find out if television likes you. And some of the best advice I ever got, and I did, and just a couple of weeks later, went on the air with Lance on Saturday. And the wonderful thing about Lance, he brought me along slowly. He said, don't feel like you have to do anything. He said, you just say things when you're comfortable saying them. And so I was able to work into it slowly. And, of course, being mentored by the best ever certainly didn't hurt.
What radio station, if you don't mind me asking, Dave, were you at when all this transition to TV came about?
No, WHBQ. They were AM, FM, and TV in the same building.
Yep.
And, I was a rock and roll DJ there for 4 years as I worked my way through college and loved it. I mean, I love playing rock and roll on the radio. But I decided it was time to try something else, and thank goodness television worked out.
Well, that was Wink Martindale. Did he come through there?
He did. Wink had already left when I got there. I got there in 1964. Wink had gone to California in 1958. Jack Parnell was my radio mentor there. George Klein, my good buddy, and several other guys. Yeah,
Bob McLean came through there. I remember he was on the air when I first moved back to Memphis. I loved his morning show. It was way before Rick Dees ever thought about being Rick Dees.
Yeah, that's very true. Rick was in North Carolina at the time. Yeah, both Bob McLean and Rick Dees worked at WHBQ. Yep. Now, they were working in radio after I was already
you were already gone. You were already gone by then. But wow.
But we were in the same building, so I saw them all the time.
You know, I never thought the FM stuff would work. I always thought AM was the baby, and it never was going to be any good. This FM thing, that's going to be a fly-by-night thing. I believe I was kind of wrong on that.
Well, a lot of people didn't think it was going to work because all the FM stations played was elevator music.
Right.
But WMC FM 100, the program director there had worked at WHBQ. And he went to New Orleans and then came back, and he's convinced the general manager to try rock and roll. He said, I believe it will go. And it did.
Hey, he's a genius.
He was a genius. There's no doubt about it.
Dave, I had a question for you because the wrestling show at 13, then it got better at Channel 5 with the ratings. How much did it go hand in hand? When it was at Channel 13, Channel 13 News was doing real good. Then it went to Channel 5, and Channel 5 for 20 years was the number one station in the market. How much did the station help the wrestling company? How much did the wrestling company help the television station, or did it go hand in hand?
It went hand in hand. The wrestling show. At one point in the early 1980s, we moved over there in March of 1977. And in the early 1980s, keep in mind there weren't that many television stations, no cable and satellite. But on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock, of all the television sets in this entire area that were turned on, 80% of them were watching wrestling.
Say that one more time, the percentage.
80% of the it was an 80 share. It wasn't the rating, it wasn't all the TVs, but it was all the televisions that were turned on, and that's not just Memphis. That's northeastern Arkansas, West Tennessee, and North Mississippi.
Dave, we don't have much time left with you. I do want you to give a little talk about Jerry Jarrett and just what a genius he was in the wrestling business, and how important the wrestling promotion was to Jerry Jarrett.
He was indeed a genius. He was meticulous. He would come in, we would have a meeting every week before we went on the air with the show, and Jerry would go over the show step by step by step. So Lance and I knew the storyline when we walked out into the studio, and it was just our job to convey it to the audience, which was very easy to do after Jerry had laid it all out. He also was very smart, and he laid the groundwork before he ever took over the wrestling company. He got first Jerry Lawler on his team, and then he got commitments from virtually all the other wrestling stars, other than Jackie Fargo and Tojo Yamamoto. They didn't come at first, but he got all of them set up, and then when he started his company, he went to Channel 13 first. Channel 13 said, no, we can't do it. Corporate in New York said, we'll get sued by Goulas. So they canceled the show. So they went over to Channel 5 and convinced Channel 5 to put it on. One thing that I've always found amusing, Jerry Lawler, Jerry Jarrett told the general manager at Channel 5, not only do we have this top-rated show, we've got Lance Russell who's going to be working for us, and we can get Dave Brown over here. Well, I knew nothing about that. But it did end up working out that way, and it was great.
I remember watching a Saturday morning before you got there. Clay Conrad was doing it.
Yep.
Then, of course, Lance Russell came around, and I watched that they were panning the studio, and they went a little bit too far, and you were standing over by one of the exit doors, standing there, and I told my wife at the time, I said, you just wait. In a couple of weeks, Dave Brown's going to be on the Saturday Morning Wrestling Show. He's going to come to TV5. I said, well, you're out of your mind. You don't even know what you're talking about. I was a genius that time, Dave.
There you go. Well, it worked out, and I'm thrilled it did. I had a wonderful career at Channel 5 in wrestling and in weather, and I'm just so grateful. And Jerry Jarrett played a key part in that. I'm so sorry for Jeff, for Deborah, for the entire family, and, we'll go on, but it's sad.
Dave, I also want to say you were a big part, along with Corey Macklin with Power Pro Wrestling. We had a lot of fun together, and I appreciate you doing that for us from 98 to 2001, 154 shows.
Hey, you know what, Dave? Not very many people can say they worked beside both Jack Eaton and Charlie B. Watson.
That's exactly right. Both of them were great guys and great friends. I miss them to this day.
I know you do. Dave, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. I hope we can do this again some other time. I've admired you from afar, got to know you a bit, and certainly enjoyed knowing you. Good luck to you and everything that you're doing, and thank you for joining us on the front row.
Thanks, my friend. Talk to you later.
Thanks, Dave.
Dave Brown joining us in the Power Hour.
I hear Dave Brown's voice, it gives me chills. I thought you guys would enjoy taking 20 minutes out of this show listening to thoughts from Dave Brown. Now, we already heard the preview from Adam Dunn, and we'll see the Power Hour, episode 53, April the 17th, 1999, as we go to that show right now.
Power Pro Wrestling.
Season number 2 of Power Pro Wrestling. We have a huge main event today. Dave Brown has a day off. He'll be back with us on next week. Looking forward to you getting back here with us, Dave. Big main event. We're going to see Mr. Personalities, Derek King and Kid Wicket teaming up in the ring today. But listen to their opponents. Bill Superstar Dundee, Jerry the King Lawler. Big main event on the Power Hour. Also, we've got a triple threat match coming up right here today.
Adam, your thoughts on the Dave
Between
Brown
Randy Hales,
interview
Brandon
on the
Baxter.
front row with Bud Rowe?
Huge, I mean, big-time news regarding that as well. And also, let me tell you about the Spring Blowout Tour. It is one of the biggest tours that I've ever seen in wrestling. Coming up around Power Pro Wrestling. Take a look at Spring Blowout Tour 99.
Power Pro Wrestling blasts off. Power Pro Wrestling blasts off in spring style. It's 3 days, 3 locations. The superstars will be out in style. Thursday night, April 22nd, Power Pro debuts in Senatobia, Mississippi at the Northwest Junior College. Friday, April 23rd, it's Rage, Cage, and Chaos at the fabulous New Daisy Theater on Beale Street. And finally, on Saturday, April 24th, it's the Boot Hill Brawl in Kennett, Missouri. It's the most star-studded Power Pro tour in history. Expect the unexpected.
Is that
It's
production
Power
of that
Pro's
spot that
Spring
James
Blowout.
Estes put together? You're my production guru, my production expert. Does that video hold up today?
Oh, without question. Better than
Power
a lot
Pro
of stuff I
Spring
see today.
Blowout Tour. Coming up around the area, let me tell you, be there when it comes to see you. Got Mick Tierney in the ring. And
Or if you hadn't realized it, Adam, there are imitators out there. People think they're doing Memphis quality TV that are not doing Memphis quality TV. There's no doubt. You can tell me I'm wrong, but if you tell me I'm wrong, you're just trying to kayfabe people, because you 100% have to know, as somebody that watched more Memphis wrestling than anybody, whether it was live, Power Pro, or whether it was on videotape, YouTube, that sort of thing. You know what I mean, and you agree with what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Big boot from Baldo.
Channel 5 was an NBC affiliate. You see the NBC Channel 5 studio where the wrestling ring and the wrestling studio was. It's right next at the time to the new studio. Now the new studio is where the wrestling studio used to be. These are all professionals there. The director, James Estes, give his background. He ended up, wasn't it, working in Atlanta for NBC or
I believe,
somewhere?
yeah, he works in Atlanta now, I believe, for CBS, and is over there all of their
in
match
Earl,
control.
Arkansas tonight for the first time ever. There at the
But
Earl
he's
High
been in
School. Big
Atlanta
forum
for several years
Tierney.
now.
Big
This was
main
just a
event
natural
today.
progression from
Derek King
Memphis
and
as
Kid
far as
Wicket,
going
the
to the
Power
market.
Pro Tag Team Champions.
And this is
defend
Mick
that title
Tierney.
right here today.
Somebody
On
was
the
asking
Power Hour
earlier,
against
and
the
I
King.
forgot who they were asking.
And the
I think they were asking
Superstar.
about Baldo, and I didn't really
Elbow
understand the
Mick
way the
Tierney.
question
Tierney.
was phrased.
The big
Baldo
Irish
was
guy out
sent
of
to us
Northern
by the
Ireland.
WWF.
Working over Baldo,
However,
front face-off
whatever,
out
as
there.
we had a
Also
trying to be
coming
a
up today,
developmental
I am
talent,
looking forward to hearing
they
what's
could
going on
make
even more now with
suggestions.
Brandon
However,
Baxter, Randy Hales. That's a
very
feud been
rarely.
going on
I
for
can
a long
just
time.
remember
Boy, Tierney with one of
one
those submission
thing
holds,
that they
and Baldo hanging in there.
flat out said, and then when they had him full time, they one of the first things they did was switch Kurt Angle heel. That's one thing that I couldn't do. I couldn't switch Kurt Angle heel. They wanted him to be the Olympic hero, and certainly the people weren't buying that. They tried that in the WWF. They didn't buy it there, but they then did. But the WWF didn't dictate how we use that talent. We're seeing two of the developmental guys now as the referee gets knocked down there. Baldo, the current head trainer of NXT, Matt Blue. Baldo, fantastic talent. And the question was, Baldo a WWF insert or someone that made the big time from your foot? He was signed by them, discovered by them. However, he was sent here as his first regular territory, but he had worked the independents. Obviously, you can see he's not green, as here comes Vic Grimes in the studio now.
DDT's Baldo. somebody puts Tierney on top. Oh, boy. This doesn't look good for Baldo at all. That's 1, 2, and 3.
We're nearing the end of Baldo's run before he went up. I think he went up to the WWF the first time as Prince Albert, if I'm correct, Adam.
Yeah, I guess they're real proud of themselves by pulling all of that stuff. Baldo
Yeah, I think that's right. I think he was Prince
Tierney
Albert
down for
first.
the 3 count. Referee wasn't there, and well. Baldo calling for the microphone. Let's see if we can get him
32
a mic
minutes
to
into the
ringside.
show. Of course, the first
He's
20
got
minutes or so,
something.
we listened to that great Dave Brown interview from Front Row with Buddy.
You call yourself the master of West Coast violence! Woo! The only thing you masters...
Why is that microphone not hot, Dave? I mean, Adam?
He probably didn't know to turn it on, even though it was a wireless. It was a wireless that could put the switch on the bottom of it.
I grew up in the back streets of Boston. You want a hardcore match with me? I get the time and I get the place. Next Friday.
Having the camera guy get closer to use his mic. Listen, you can tell a little bit of difference there at the end.
Grimes, you want a match with me? We'll hook it up Friday night at the New Daisy. The big guy highly upset. Hey, let's take a look. And an
That's
interview
funny.
that
When he
takes place
slammed
here
it
in
down, you
Colorado
could hear that
last week.
noise.
Bill Superstar Dundee. We've seen him in tips as he's been
Did you notice?
in a long, long time. He had some words.
Probably
Bill's
Corey's
here is
mic may have
Dundee.
picked it up.
Take a listen.
Lawler, she could have chained you up at home. You could have spanked her at home. Don't bring that into my business, brother, because I take this real serious. If you want to run for mayor and get out of this business, you do that, brother. But I'm not walking around this town with you for a partner and you not really caring who's the best in here. Well, I am, Jack. I'm the best. And the Fabs are going to show up 1 week Friday, and they're going to put a cage up around the ring. Well, I've been in a cage downtown Memphis before, and there was guys in blue suits on one side, and I was on the other. You get what I mean? And if that's what it takes to do it again, punk, you better have your mind on fighting, Lawler, because like I said before, when you come to fight, you're one of the best. But when you got women on your mind, you suck, boy. Well, you better show up a week Friday, and you better be the Jerry the King Lawler that was here 20 years ago when I got here, and we've whooped everybody from Hulk Hogan to Flex Cavalla to everybody that's in the wrestling business. When Stone Cold was Steve Williams, we used to beat him up around here. There ain't nobody better than you and me. We have took them all out. And if you think I'm walking around this town and saying that I'm a loser to the Fabs because of some dumb blonde, I ain't doing it, Lawler. If you don't come to fight, don't come.
Great interview from Superstar Bill Dundee. We are watching show number 53, April the 17th, 1999. It's the Power Hour going on this Monday night, as we do every Monday night. Also remind everybody that we'll finish up 1986, start 1987, a big talking Memphis wrestling tomorrow. We'll probably also re-show the Dave Brown interview from the Front Row with Buddy. Because even though that we have some people that watch both shows, we also have people exclusive that just watch one show a week, and this is a backstage brawl. This is Adam's favorite thing.
He's caught up with Big Grimes back in the back, down in the loft area, back near the dressing room. Well, Baldo went looking for him. He was saying, hey, let's get the show signed for Friday night, but apparently Baldo is caught up with the guy back
Those
in the back.
wooden doors that they just hit there, that was the Action News 5 studio.
Oh, he's got a table back there. This doesn't look
See, this doesn't look set up because that table had stuff on top of it, so it didn't look like it was staged, Adam.
Right.
Baldo's got it. Wow! Man, oh man, he slammed him right into that
You
table.
want to jump behind me? You want to jump me?
Man, and Grimes is not moving. He's out. Yeah. Well, we had a camera back in the back, and boy, Baldo and Grimes fight. fighting it out back there. We've got a triple threat match in the
See,
ring.
when Bruno realized the camera was
Sensational
on, he had
Steve
to run up
Bradley, the
there.
Young Guns champions
Oh,
in the
yeah,
ring.
of course he did.
Erin O'Grady's in with him as well. And here comes Olympian Kurt Angle making his way to ringside as we're ready for triple threat action right here.
This should be a very
on the Power
interesting
Hour.
triple threat match. Steve Bradley no longer with us.
The
Erin
trophy to
O'Grady
ringside.
no longer with
Bruno's
us.
trying
And
to
of
get the
course,
trophy.
Kurt Angle entered the
Triple
Memphis
threat match
Wrestling
for
Hall of
three
Fame
calls for
a couple
the
of
bell.
years ago,
Here we
and
go.
I think that was
Man, it's hard to get
2020.
over
You can
Baldo
correct me
and
if I'm
Big
wrong.
Grimes back in the back.
But in
Oh,
Mississippi
fighting it out,
at Jerry Lawler's
Grimes
Legend Reunion
pounded into that table by Baldo. Hopefully we'll have
it was September the
get more
18th,
on the Baldo Grimes
2021.
feud that has started up here today. Into the ropes goes Bradley. He leaps over, comes on.
Adam knows the
O'Grady.
date,
Comes
so
back like
he
this.
must have got a lot bigger payoff for that shot than I did from Kevin Lawler.
Stands in the middle and look at Kurt Angle go with a couple of
I just edited all the video.
Take both of them now. Remember triple threat rules. The man that wins the first fall comes out the winner in
They
this
did a
thing.
great job.
Got all
That's
three of them in the
available
ring.
at the website,
Leapfrog from Kurt
MemphisWrestlingHallOfFame.com.
Angle, and he's caught by that boot from
As
Bradley.
Brooks said, that
Bradley
concrete
on top
floor
of
didn't
Angle now, pounding
give an
away.
inch on Vic
We're
Grimes'
going to see
back.
Glenn
Not at all.
Buckeye in action right here today on the Power
Andrew
Hour.
Calvin says great Power Pro Wrestling
And don't
shows
forget, we got
in
tag team
Clarksville,
action today as
Mississippi back in the day. Thanks,
Jerry Lawler,
Randy.
Bill
Thank you
Dundee
for coming.
take on Derek King and Kid Wicket. Double
That interview a
clothesline from
few minutes
O'Grady and
ago,
Bradley.
Bill Dundee was
They
not
step
happy
Kurt
with Jerry
Angle
Lawler.
over. Oh, Bradley.
Lance
Bradley and O'Grady both
Johnson
put under pressure.
loves stuff from the superstar
The
Bill Dundee.
Olympian
Aaron
Kurt
O'Grady
Angle.
later became Crash
Angle gets
Hollis,
himself out of
Steve
that. Oh, boy,
Bradley.
that looked
You
like a
see him there.
tough hole
A
to get
very
out. Body
interesting
slam from Steve
three-way
Bradley. Bradley
dance
flips
triple
off the
threat
rope.
match here on this
Sunset
program
flip.
today.
Boy, what a move.
Very
Probably a
early
slingshot right off of that middle
in
rope.
all three
O'Grady
gentlemen's
and Bradley.
careers. The greenest of the bunch was Kurt Angle, wouldn't you say, Adam?
High five from the two. They're
Yes,
teaming up,
most
but hey, they got to remember that everybody.
Kurt had been working with Steve Bradley before they got to Power Pro. And of
Angle's
course, Aaron
on his
O'Grady
feet.
and
Look
Vic
out,
Grimes
Kurt Angle
both
could
came
end
from
it right
AEW.
here. He dodges the clothesline.
In California, correct?
Good
Correct.
move
And
from
they had
Angle.
working each other there quite a bit. So that's why when they first came to the Power Pro, you saw a lot of matches
Lands
between
him
Vic Grimes and
down.
Aaron O'Grady.
Yes, Bradley, the same thing.
And a lot of times you'll see Kurt paired up with Steve because they trained together.
As everybody, Kurt Angle, belly to belly. Two count. Oh! O'Grady went in and tried to save the day for Bradley. Winds up catching Bradley. Drop kick to the back from Kurt Angle. Angle backs him up, whips him in. There goes Bradley under the bottom rope. What's it? What do you mean?
Corey, I said I wanted some competition. I got things to do. We'll leave.
Oh, you want some company? Hey, look, two count. Three. That's a three. Kurt Angle gets the win. Meanwhile, Steve Bradley says, hey, I want some competition. These guys aren't good enough. I'm taking off. I don't think that's the reason why. It got hot and heavy in there for Bradley, and he takes off. But Kurt Angle gets the win over Erin O'Grady in the triple threat match. What about that was, huh? Hey, still more action to come on the Power Hour. Big night coming up Friday night at the New Daisy. Rage, Cage, and Chaos. And we're going to see Stan this match against Lawler and Dundee. Take a look at what happened last
Stacy
time.
coming back
Macklin
to the
doing
ring.
the show
She's
solo.
got a chain. Trying to get the
Speaking of
attention
Bud, that's Bud on
of
commentary
Steve
here.
Kern.
There's Stacy with the chain, and Stacy has figured to be a distraction
tell
both
Corey to
times
just talk?
these two have hooked up in the ring. Well, coming up this Friday
Do
night,
what now, Adam? I
Stacy
missed
is
that.
going to be
I
locked
said,
in
did
a
you
cage of
have
her
Corey
own
talk over him?
this Friday night.
No,
so
he
there
just
won't be
did
any
it.
distraction. Right there, you see Steve Kern. He rolls up Lawler, and that's the first time
they spelled
that the
Daisy
Fabs
wrong.
met Lawler and Dundee.
You're
Well,
trying
we'll
to
see what happens
screw with
Friday
me.
night.
You're trying to get me kicked off the front row with Bud
Right here
Row.
on the Power Hour. Stay with us.
course, most people probably listening to this and watching this on my Facebook. You can also check it out at RB Hales on Twitter and the archives of these shows later as we go off the air within 30 minutes. I put it up on the YouTube channel at Randy Hales, and starting last Tuesday's show, I believe, Adam, I put it up on the Randy Hales Memphis Wrestling.com page. I put up last Tuesday's tribute to Jerry Jarrett. You can find that in all the archives, and I thought it was an excellent show, just a fantastic show last week. Did you as well?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I thought it was a fantastic show. One of the best ones that we had ever done.
For people that has asked, Jerry Jarrett's service will be in Hendersonville, Tennessee tomorrow morning. Just wanted to let everybody know of that. At Long Hollow Pike Church in Hendersonville. There's one in Goodlettsville and one in Hendersonville. That church is in Hendersonville, where Jeff Jarrett lives in Hendersonville today. Eddie Marlin lived in Hendersonville, and the wrestling office was in Hendersonville for many, many, many years. Yeah, I thought Corey did a great, great job. I agree with you, Brooks, and I think that is a very fair statement. Tanner's asking, did we happen to show the dark match from Vic and Erin O'Grady from WWF Raw is War? No, we did not show that. I think I saw it. Lawrence says he loved last week. And Lawrence from Australia, I think last week was the first show you saw of Talking Memphis Wrestling. Of course, I do shows every Monday and every Tuesday, and would love for you to watch the show every Monday and Tuesday night at 7 Central every week. The Monday show's usually an hour long. We'll go longer than that today because we opened with that special 20-minute interview. The Tuesday show is 2 hours, and we sometimes go over 2 hours. And I'm really looking forward to the show tomorrow.
Of the Kid Wicket Kurt Angle match, so they'll get a shot immediately following that contender bout Friday night, all at the New Daisy. Then a hardcore match comes up. Boy, we've seen these two. Baldo, vicious, big drives.
I hope
No
your
love
niece,
lost there.
who
They'll tangle up
had a
Friday
medical
night at
issue
the New
last week,
Daisy.
I hope
And
she's
then I'm
doing
looking forward to this
good.
one.
Been
This is
praying
a
for
final
her
conflict.
all week.
When Randy Hales faces Brandon Baxter for the final time, they say that it will be settled
No,
Friday
Tanner,
night at
I
the New
have
Daisy.
absolutely
Power Pro
no idea
heavyweight
for
title
these
match.
things. If
With
you're
the
talking about
Freebird, Michael P.
the Vic and
Hayes
Aaron O'Grady
defends
match,
his
I
title
would,
Friday night at the New Daisy against
from the
Glenn
WWF,
Hoka,
I would
right there,
almost bet
Friday
money
night
it
at
would
the New
never be
Daisy on Bill. And
stayed.
then
If it
a
hadn't been
10-foot
from
steel
this
cage
point,
surrounding the ring when Steve Kern, Stan Lane, the fabulous ones come back to Memphis, and they'll tangle up with Jerry the King Lawler, Bill Superstar Dundee, and they say the score will be settled. And not only that, it's not on the graphics there.
I understand what you
Stacy
mean. No,
locked in
I
the
heard from
cage of
Jeff
her own.
today,
So it's all
and
Friday
they will.
night.
Conrad Thompson will be. His team will be reporting it. The funeral will not be streamed.
Making his way up to the ring now is the founder, the owner, and the president of Power Pro, Mr. Randy Hales. Hello, Randy.
What's going on today?
Well, I tell you, first of all, I'm shocked at the news. Final conflict between yourself, Brandon Baxter.
This is a
Right, Corey. I'm
segment
sure
after
you think
doing
that
about
I
8
have
10
some
months
kind of
worth of me and
master
Brandon.
plan, some kind
Put a
of
lot of
tricks up
thought
my
in.
That's exactly
Was
what I'm about
excited
to ask you.
about.
What is up your sleeve?
You know
I
what
thought
wanna do,
this
and I won't,
segment
have
died.
a lot. You
Very.
usually
It's probably
see
the
me
most
yelling and
disappointing
screaming and going
on-air
crazy,
segment
veins
I ever
popping out.
did in my
That's
life.
not going to
Adam.
happen. I asked George upstairs if he could play Brandon Baxter's music because I want to talk to him man to man here today, face to face. No trouble.
Yeah, we don't need any trouble, Randy. If we're going to do this, let's make sure that we do it right and keep things with no problems out here. for Friday night at the New Daisy. Music plays, and I don't see Brendan, but maybe we can get him out here and get this thing settled once and for all. The final conflict, Friday night at the New Daisy. Here he is, Brandon Baxter.
Oh, yeah. What's up, Mempo? You rang Randy Hales, and here I am. What's up?
You know, first of all, last week was our year anniversary show.
That's right.
1 year of Power Pro Wrestling. Now, I've been sitting back and I've been soul searching a lot. I've been thinking a lot what happened the last year and what's the future for Power Pro Wrestling. And I have a major announcement right now, people, that will change the face of Power Pro Wrestling forever. And Brandon Baxter, this will change your life forever.
Go ahead.
Now, this coming Friday night at the New Daisy Theater, there's no tricks. The last time ever, me and you, the last time we'll ever do it. Now, I've been
Hey,
obsessed
Nicholas.
with you.
Good
I've
to
been
hear from
obsessed
you.
with this thing, Brandon
From
Baxter.
California
I've been
today.
obsessed with beating your brains out. This is not funny to me, people, and it's not going to be funny to you either. It's not going to be funny at all. I've been obsessed to this. But I'm telling you, Friday night, people, Friday night at the New Daisy will be the last time that Randy Hales will ever be involved with the syndicate, will ever wrestle again, and will be the last time I involve myself as a talent. So I will be out here no more, people.
Am I believing my ears? You're saying that this is the last time. There's no more syndicate, none of that stuff after Friday night.
Win or lose, that's it. I'm going to have my whole focus on where it should be, and that's taking this company into 1999 and further and to be successful. This is it. The deal with me and you, Brandon Baxter, goes back not just the last 6 months. It goes back for the last 5 years. And let me tell you something. In the past, we've been bitter enemies, right? And then we became the closest of friends. And then we became bitter enemies again. Isn't that right? That's the way it's been.
That's the history lesson, Randy.
That's the history, and that's the way it's been. Well, let me tell you something. The difference between me and you, Brandon Baxter, I've said it before, that you have no heart and no guts and no ambition, Brandon Baxter. You're nothing but a spoiled, selfish child that's been spoiled by your grandmother, your mother, and your entire family, your whole entire life. You don't have what it takes to be successful. Now, let me say this. The most important thing to me is this is going to end between me and you. This war is going to end, Brandon Baxter. I promise you that. But I also promise you it's going to end with me either pinning your shoulders, 1, 2, 3, or making you give up. That's a promise. That is a promise.
Hey, I think everybody in this studio wants you to shut your mouth right now.
I'm not finished. I have one more point to make. This is not going to be a Mac Classic. This is not going to be Lou Thesz, Buddy Wayne. This is not going to be the classic Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee. This is going to be a hell of a fight between me and you, and I don't think you have, I can't say that. I don't think you have it down low to stay with me, brother, to stay with me in that match.
Well, I think these people out here think a little bit differently.
Let me say one more thing.
You said one more thing a million times.
One more thing. Let me tell you something. Listen to me, people. You listen to me careful, Brandon Baxter, in my lifetime. I've fought a lot of battles. Listen, people, I've said this before, screaming and yelling. I've had a lot of battles. I had financial problems, and I beat it. I had alcohol problems, and I beat it. Let me tell you something. You all know it. I got hooked on some real bad stuff. Some real bad stuff. It could have and should have killed me. But I've been straight, Corey, 2 years, 3 months, and 22 days, and 16 minutes. And that's a fact of life, brother, and I can swear on my family that's true. And let me tell you this. I fought all the demons, and I fought the devil. You're no devil, and I can promise you, you're going to go down beat, and you're going to go down defeated, and that's a promise.
Okay. I don't know how I'm going to follow your little sermon, Randy Hales, but let's tell it like it is. Let's shoot if you want to, okay? Randy Hales, the reason you don't like Brandon Baxter is because we were just alike. When we were both little kids, we dreamed about being wrestlers. That's all we wanted to do. And everybody said, you can't do it. Our family said it, our friends said it, and the wrestlers in the back said it. But I proved them wrong, and you proved them wrong too. But see, I'm happy with what I've done in the wrestling business, and you're not. You want to be a 270-pound world heavyweight champion, not a 175-pound wrestling promoter, and that eats at you. And, you know, you talked about the history and the 5 years, Brandon Baxter against Randy Hales. Let's go back to Louisville, Kentucky. It was 1995. I was 18 years old. I had a lot more hair back then. And I thought, man, I'm going to be cool. I'm going to get over in wrestling, right? So in Louisville, we were at the Days Inn. And that night, I'm sure you remember it real well. I was out and I was partying. I was sitting at the pool and I was drinking a little beer, if you want to know the actual truth. And well, maybe actually a few too many, and somebody came down and said, Randy Hales is up in his hotel room, and he wants to talk to you. So I said, well, maybe I'll go up there and I'll get over with the boss, you know, maybe you can pay me a little more money. So I go up there, Randy Hales, and you thought you wanted to fight. You wanted to fight Brandon Baxter, so you attacked me, and you put me down, and you put me in that camel clutch. But if you remember, yeah, it hurt. And yeah, you hurt my back. Yeah, you rubbed my face in the ground, but Randy Hales, I didn't give up. And that eats at you. And let me tell you this last thing. Friday night, the New Daisy Theater, it's the last time, you and I. And if you think that I don't want to beat you and end this thing, then you're dead wrong, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Brandon Baxter is going out on top, Bad Street style.
Well, that is from Brandon Baxter, Randy Hales.
We can both do all the talking in the world.
Oh, one more thing. Well, let's see how much of a man you are. You talk about being a man and a great church man. If you beat me Friday night, I'll shake your hand. If you are able to beat me, I'll shake your hand. How about this? If I beat you, are you man enough to stand there and shake my hand?
Let me tell you something, people. I said it before, this is going to be a hell of a fight. And if you beat me, if you pin me, if you make me give up, I'll get up, I'll shake your hand, and win or lose, this is it as a talent for Randy Hales.
Well, let's just make sure we have the tape.
Amen.
Rolling on this one, that win, lose, or draw, this is it for Randy Hales. It's the final.
I was very disappointed in that segment when we did it. As I watch it back, it was too long. However, what do you say? Hit or miss, Adam Dunn?
Because you had the opportunity, you had a big opportunity, because it just so happens that I worked my rear end off every day, and I built this company to what it is today, and I needed a right-hand man, and I
Well, I guess Adam has
you
walked
don't have
away
that heart,
from
and you
the
don't have that
computer. He's
desire,
not with
and
us
you don't have that
audio-wise,
work
so
ethic
everybody
that I have.
watching
His
here
mother
today,
had
if you
3
could tell
kids,
me
the
what you
government
thought,
supported him with welfare.
if that was
So
a
what?
hit
We don't need that
or
stuff out here.
miss
Come on.
segment. And I think the biggest mess of the thing, I thought the stuff that we did as far as verbal-wise was good. It just went too long. And now we're showing the recap. This was a blow-off for a 6 to 8 month program, but we obviously took too much time
Right now, let's do it.
in this TV show to recap this situation. There's no doubt
Randy
about
just
it.
takes a big swing at him.
So I guess Adam is still not with us.
Go extra, I know it is. He picks him up. He's trying to throw him in the dumpster. Who's that on top of the dumpster? Spider-Man leaps off, nails Randy, throwing something on Randy.
I would guess Brandon was about 20 years old.
No surprise, Randy Hales, who Spider-Man is. You see, I said last week you came out here and you called me a coward. You called Jerry Lawler a coward. You called Stacy a coward. I said you were the coward, and you proved it today. I want you to come out here and fight me like a man.
I'm here dressed to fight.
The final conflict. It's Friday night. The bout is signed in ink. New Daisy, Randy Hales, Brandon Baxter. Back with more on Power Pro. Stay with us.
Now, I wanted to watch that recap. Yeah, I do think it probably went too long, but it was very heartfelt. I mean, I would rather listen to that than any of these scripted promos that you hear today that you can tell that they rehearsed 45 times before they went out there and did it. And if they get stumbled on one word, they get totally lost. That was from the heart, and it was telling y'all's story, backing it up with video, and it was just okay. This was going to be the end of it all. So yeah, it may be a little long and drawn out, but then there's not going to be any more of it moving forward. So you guys just use that segment to set it up, and I really didn't see too much of a problem with it. You could maybe argue that it went long, but I think it got the story across, and you could tell that even though it went long, the crowd got more into it the more that it went.
Bruce Pritchard was in the studio that day, obviously, as relationship with the WWF, because he was a spy sent in by the WWF. And see, Brandon and I take that TV time, more TV time on this particular show than anybody. And I'm sure Bruce used that against us, even though they probably had the best reaction of anything that was done.
And he awaits his opponent here today on Power Pro. Led to the ring by
Glenn
Down
Coco
Bruno.
from the Syndicate.
It's Glenn Coca.
Hey, Nick Oates is going to AEW Revolution at the pay-per-view in San Francisco. Did anybody get a chance to see Elimination Chamber last Saturday night? The main event was Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn. I didn't get a chance to. I fell asleep before they got to the main event. Everybody said it was 30 minutes, and it was a great old school type of match.
Tonight over in Earl, Arkansas. Thursday night, there's a big night of wrestling.
Lawrence says he loves long promos that are unscripted.
All Thursday night there, and of course Friday night, New Daisy.
And certainly nothing was on paper. Basically,
and next Saturday night,
I had the points I wanted to make. Didn't tell Brandon. Brandon had the points he wanted to make, so I said, I'll talk. Then you go.
Also want to say special hello to our friend,
and then I'll say something else, and then you pay it off. And probably the handshake deal was just something he threw at me. I was never a big believer in scripted promos at all. Not at all, in any way. Not even for myself. Al says the Roman Reigns Sami Zayn match is really good. I'll go back and watch that. Maybe not tonight. Got to get up early in the morning. Got a doctor's appointment tomorrow. And I want to drive for a couple hours before that happens. Unfortunately, I will not be driving due to that already scheduled doctor's appointment. I will not be driving to Nashville tomorrow.
Titles at stake when Kid Wicked and Derek King, Mr. Personalities, take on Jerry the King Lawler, Bill Superstar Dundee. That's 2 and 3.
Alan Steele, and what we think, Adam, is the second appearance on Power Pro Wrestling, as Alan would become involved in a simple part in Power Pro Wrestling later on. This is a very, very young Alan
the Power Pro
Steele.
Heavyweight Champion.
Whoa, Michael P. as Hayes, the fabulous Freebird, born on Bad Street, USA, and the Power Pro Champion. Well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to kick it out with the spring blowout, and we're going to kick it off in San Antonio this Thursday night for the first time ever. Freebird Fantasia swoops into town, and if anybody gets in my way, I'm gonna smoke them, if you know what I'm talking about. But right now, I want to talk about the spring blowout at the New Daisy Theater this Friday night on Beale Street, P.S. Street. And I want to talk to my cuz, GK, Glenn Coca. You know, you've been running around telling lies, and I know that you want to make it in this industry real bad because you're a legend in Canadian football.
Era.
And I'm not going to knock Canadian football because I supported you the whole time. I even supported you when Glenn had to go to camp, if you know what I mean. And I also trained you. I got you ready. Now you think you're ready. Now you think you're going to come through your cousin. Well, let me tell you something, man. I never intended for my return to the ring to last this long.
Very nice
but I ain't
championship
gonna lie.
belt. I appreciate it very much, Brooks.
And even more than life, I'm loving being the Power Pro champion and ain't nobody. And
If I was smart back in the day, instead of selling it back
you.
to
So you
David
get ready
Milliken
this
on
Friday
what
night,
the
and you're gonna
amount that
find out
I
what it's
paid
all
for the
about.
belt,
You're gonna find out
Adam,
about
there was a young
sacrifice,
wrestling
and you're gonna
fan that
find
really
out
loved Power
about
Pro
walking
Wrestling,
down a bad
and he
street
really
against me,
loved
not with me.
production and
Against me.
television and
Because
that
I'm
sort
gonna
of
tell you
thing, everything
right
about
now,
Power Pro
this
Wrestling.
Friday
That
night
young
on Beale
man,
Street, it is
I
time
bet
to
I
lock
could
up
have
your
probably
daughters,
talked him
lock up your
into
wife,
robbing
lock
a
your back
bank
door, and run
to get
for
the
your
money
life. Because
to buy
Freebird
that belt
Fantasia
for his own.
hits
How
the
about
new
it? Do you
Daisy
think he would have
Theater.
gone for
And
it?
GK,
Probably
I
so.
got something for you. It's coming
And I'm
to
not
me.
a belt. I'm
and
not
it
a
will
belt
be
person, but that one would have been something to me for sure.
You know, a lot of people, and it's all relative. We like what we like, and we don't like what we don't like. It's absolutely 100%. It's our right to like or dislike whatever in the world we want to like. I'm not a belt guy either. I never has been. As we're watching show number 53 of Power Pro Wrestling, tomorrow night it's Talking Memphis Wrestling. Wednesday morning will be the Power Hour on Front Row with Bud Row. Next Monday, Power Hour. Tuesday is Talking Memphis Wrestling. No Front Row with Bud Row next week. They'll be off all week long. What in the world is going on here? Couldn't get with that. Couldn't get away with that today. As Schoolboy by Bill Dundee and the Fabulous Ones are defeated by Dundee and
That was
Lawler.
the second time the four of them hooked up. Stacy, a big factor every time they've had the bout signed. Well, this Friday night, Stacy's locked in the cage. Understand that we've got with us here on the Power Hour on the phone, Stan Lane of the Fabulous Ones. Stan, you there, babe?
Yeah, I'm right here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Corey Macklin here, Stan. Hello, Stan.
Hello, I can barely hear you.
Hey, Corey Macklin with Power Pro Wrestling. We've got you on the air today. And understand you guys are flying back into Memphis and into Power Pro this weekend.
That we certainly are. I'm down here in sunny South Beach, Miami, Florida, broadcasting the offshore powerboat races for ESPN2. But don't think for 1 second that I wasn't up at dawn this morning, jogging on the beach 10 miles, getting in the greatest shape of my life. I just talked to Steve Kern earlier. He's up in Tampa in the gym, and we are ready for rage, cage, and chaos in Memphis. We're going to decide once and for all who the greatest tag team in the Memphis era, in the Memphis area, too, is. Once and for all, Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee will find out in a cage. There's no place to run. There's no place to hide. There's no escape. The Fabs will prevail.
Well, the bout has been signed. It's going to take place right here in Memphis at the New Daisy, and we'll see who is the best tag team, I guess, coming up Friday night, huh, Stan?
And let me say this. Let me invite all of my fans, all the thousands and thousands of fans who haven't seen me in Senatobia, Mississippi, me and Steve Kern, come on out Thursday night, the night before the big Memphis Cage show. Come see us in Senatobia, Mississippi. Looking forward to being there in the Mid-South area once again. And let me tell you something, Lawler and Dundee. This time, brother, you're going down, and you're going down hard.
Stan Lane of the Fabulous Ones. And, hey, good hearing from you, Stan. Have a good time down there on the beach. We'll see you when you get in here Friday night at the New Daisy. Stan Lane, Steve Kern, the Fabulous Ones, taking on Jerry the King Lawler, Bill Superstar Dundee. We're going to hear from the King. But before we do, understand that Stacy had some words. She's locked in the cage down there Friday night. Here's Stacy.
So, there's going to be a cage match this Friday night. Lawler and Dundee against the Fabs. Well, that's all well and good. But then I find out I'm going to be in a cage as well. Not the same cage they're in, but my own personal cage at ringside. Now, I don't know if Lawler and Dundee had me put in the cage because last time they wrestled the Fabs, I was the one to cause them to lose. Or if the Fabs are putting me in the cage because they want to prove to the world that they can beat Lawler and Dundee on their own. Well, listen up, you four boys. I got news for you. I can be a distraction in a cage or out of a cage. Just check out what I'm not wearing. See you Friday night.
Well, that's Stacy, and we saw the comments that she had, and we heard from Stan Lane of the Fabulous Ones.
I bet I can tell you whose idea that was, and it wasn't mine.
Friday night, New Daisy on Bill, 8 o'clock's bell time. Get those advance tickets early and be down there with us for Power Pro Wrestling. Stepping up on the canvas now is the King. Hello, King. Big night Friday night. Huh?
It's going to be a big night. I heard Stan Lane out here talking about we're going to finally find out once and for all. And you're right, Stan. We will find out. Is it Stan Lane and Steve Kern, or is it the King and the Superstar? And apparently, you know, not only are we going to be in a cage, but I guess Stacy now is going to be on their own personal little cage at ringside. And I'm sure from looking at what I just saw that she's got some plans to be some sort of a distraction also. Well, let me just say this. I'm going to prove to you not only Friday night on Beale Street who's the best tag team ever, we're also going to prove it to you in just a few minutes when Bill Dundee and I come out here and win the tag team titles. And I'll tell you what, Stan and Steve, we'll bring those belts down there Friday night. And if you're real nice, you might even get a shot at the tag team titles, because we would love to beat you even more in a title match when everything's on the line. My only problem right now is I heard earlier about Bill Dundee ranting and raving out here about how, you know, when I'm ready to fight, I'm the best there is. Well, right, there's no doubt about that, Dundee. But I thought for sure you would be ready to fight. Now, you guess what just happened? We just got a little phone call in the back, and Bill's having a little transportation problems. So he's not here yet, but supposedly he should be here within the next 5-10 minutes, and we're going to get this thing on. But Dundee, you would have thought, you know, after all of that shouting and ranting and raving you did, you would have been here at about 8 o'clock this morning ready to get it on, but you're not. We see the King is here ready, so don't make me have to pick up your slack again, Dundee, okay?
We'll see, no doubt about it, Jerry. The King, Jerry Lawler, Bill Superstar Dundee. Power Hour continues. We'll see if the Superstar makes it here. Take a break. Be back with more right here on Power Pro Wrestling. Stay with us.
Show number 53, Power Pro Wrestling, April the 17th, from 1999.
Tonight, 8 o'clock bell time, Earl, Arkansas, Earl High School tonight. It's Power Pros debut in Earl. Tonight, you will see for the first time in Earl, Arkansas, Jerry the King Lawler, Bill Superstar Dundee, Brandon Baxter's there, Randy Hales, the Syndicate, Kid Wicket, Baldo, and many, many more. 8 o'clock's the bell time. It's all tonight in Earl, Arkansas at the Earl High School. 8 o'clock's bell time. Power Pro Wrestling. Be down there and see all of the action.
I miss it as well. And you just don't see this anymore.
Well,
not that you're on modern wrestling. They have great stuff. Both major promotions have some dynamite stuff. But very proud of these Power Wrestling. If you compare any else has it, there's absolutely no doubt. And Adam, real quick, I'm having connection issues.
That is my spot, and I deserve that. So I'm going to tell you, Brandon Baxter.
Hold up. Derek, what's really going on? I already know. You see, you know how hard it was for us to win these titles. And last week, I just want to know one thing, Derek. Last week, when I was in there defending these belts by myself, where were you?
Where was I? Where were you when the Team Freebird was chasing me with sticks and boards and all that? Where were you at?
The difference is, Derek, between this and Team Freebird is this is common. We have a common goal here. We got to defend these. I don't care about the Freebirds. I don't have heat with the Freebirds.
Well,
we need to stop worrying about the Freebirds and Brandon Baxter, because we got a title defense right here.
You got that right. That's exactly what I was about to say. My sentiments exact, Kid Wicket, because I hear the music from the King. It's going to be Derek King and Kid Wicket defending their titles today. Well, there's the King, and no Bill Dundee, apparently. Derek? Have we not seen Bill yet?
As we said, we have not seen Dundee yet. Hey, guys, what about if I grab myself another partner real quick, huh? Hey, he's not here. See, I knew that's what they're saying. It's either Dundee or nobody. So I'll tell you what. No, that's okay. Dundee's going to owe me a big one after this, I can tell you that.
Well, the King's going to step in, and we'll see the results of this one. It's going to be Lawler as Dundee.
PJ, this is for you. A handicap match. Jerry Lawler
exactly right, Jerry.
challenging the tag team champions, Power Pro Tag Team Champions, Derek King and Kid Wicket.
Well, it's going to be Derek King and Kid Wicket versus Jerry Lawler now. There's no Bill Dundee. Lawler nails Kid Wicket. Power Pro titles on the line. The King covered. And Derek King comes in. Breaks that cover up. Power Pro Spring Blowout. Get ready for it tonight. Earl, Arkansas, 8 o'clock bell time. In Earl, there's nothing like being there seeing all of the action live. Look at Lawler, boy, in between. Two bumblebees in there, boy. Derek King and Kid Wicket. Look at him nail away on the King. Looks like Lawler stepped in a big 2 count. Big bottom.
Little quick bit of information I read earlier today on the Wrestling Observer. Jay Briscoe's daughter, Gracie, Lee, was dismissed from the hospital a couple of weeks ago, about a week ago. However, Gracie also was released from the hospital this past weekend, so that's real good news. Brooks says Dundee will show up.
Again, this bout was originally signed for
He signed, he got to. He didn't show up today.
Against the Power Pro champs, Kid Wicket and Derek King. Wicket and King says, hey, there's either Dundee or nobody. We signed against you and Dundee. Look at this right hand. Oh, and Kid Wicket's tied up in the ropes now. That leaves Derek King. Oh. And look at Lawler go. Right after right on Derek King. Senatobia, Mississippi, get ready Thursday night.
Loved how Derek took back body drops at him, and he would scream.
Backdrop from Lawler. You're going to see Lawler and Dundee.
Oh, yeah. I think
remember,
the Power Pro show may have been his best one.
Baldo on the card Thursday night. Michael Hayes. Look at this. 1, 2, 3. Turn off the lights. The party's over. Lawler wins the title. He gets both of them. I can't believe it. No, that's it. Kid Wicket. Kid Wicket said, what in the world's going on? As he says, what's really going on? The Power Pro champion, well, Jerry Lawler. He's got both belts. How about that? Take a break. Back with more on Power Pro.
The last break on this Power Pro Wrestling from April the 17th, show number 53, as we wound down this Power Pro Wrestling. As we'll come back with the close from Corey Macklin. Catch us on Facebook, the Randy Hales channel, the Power Pro Wrestling channel, the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame channel. Obviously, you can catch the archives at Randy Hales on YouTube and also the Randy Hales channel on Twitch.
The tag team champion, it should be plural, but it's just me. Dundee, you're going to have to get down on your hands and knees Friday night and beg me for this belt because I want them by myself, pal. I'll see you Friday night, and I'll see you too, Fab and Stacy.
We are out of time again on the Power Hour. Dave's back next week. Corey Macklin, see you then. Bye-bye.
There you go. This great Power Pro Wrestling. And again, I will explain that we usually at this point in the show have Adam Dunn on here on camera to give you the preview, his thoughts on today's show. We'll let him do that first, and then he'll give you a preview for next week's show. Then I'll come back and wrap it up. But he's having camera issues today, but you will see his profile picture and hear his voice. Adam, thoughts?
Oh, man. So to be the season opener, how about that for a main event? I don't think anybody saw that coming, that Dundee actually wouldn't show up. And then Lawler wins the tag titles to go into the match against the Fabs to be able to put the belts on the line as well. Awesome, awesome show today.
How about the preview for next week's Power Pro Wrestling?
Next week, episode 53, we're going to see Mick Tierney going against Baldo. Oh, that says the same thing over again, Randy, I think. Let me see that. I was getting ready to read that, and I think that's the exact same notes from this week on there twice. So I'll see if
Just tell them that we will have a great Power Hour next week, and that's a promise. How about that?
We'll have Baldo going against Glenn Kulka. This will be the April 24th show. Brandon Baxter and Derek King interview. We'll see Lawler and Dundee going against Kid Wicked and Steve Bradley. Brawling for Dollars next week. And we'll see the Fabulous Ones in a studio promo, and then an attack will take place. All coming up on next week's Power Hour.
Now, tomorrow night, will you join us for Talking Memphis Wrestling, Adam?
If I do, it has to be audio only, just like this.
Well, just that you're here being brilliant and getting us on the air and getting us that Dave Brown video again and all that sort of thing, that will be great as well. Appreciate it. I hope you have a good night. Finish up what you're doing. Obviously, tomorrow night, Talking Memphis Wrestling, finishing up 86, starting 87. Wednesday morning, Front Row with Budrow, 9 o'clock Central. And we will not be doing Front Row next week, but this coming Wednesday night, certainly. Wednesday morning, we certainly will be. Next Monday is the Power Hour, and next Tuesday is Talking Memphis Wrestling. And that is a wrap for us. For Adam Dunn, I'm Randy Hales. Good night, everybody. And rest in peace, Jerry Jarrett. Good night.
Power Pro Wrestling. Power Pro Wrestling.